Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Larimer County. Today is Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. Hoping that you had an opportunity to honor and celebrate our veterans on Veterans Day. As is our tradition, we'll begin our public meeting, our administrative matters meeting, with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. And once again, welcome to the folks that are here in person, as well as people that may be listening or watching online. My name is John Kafalis, Commissioner residing in District 1, currently the chair of the Board of County Commissioners. I'm joined by my colleagues, Kristen Stevens from District 2, Jody Shattuck McNally from District 3. Across the way, we have Lindsay with the Clerk and Recorder's Office, Lorenda, our County Manager, Tom with our Public Affairs Office, Sarah provides a lot of important support for our Commissioner's Office. And with that, we'll begin our meeting, our Administrative Matters meeting. First item is public comment. It does not appear that anyone has signed up in person. Sarah, has anyone signed up via the phone or registered?
No, Commissioner.
Okay. One last opportunity. I know there are some folks assembled here, but I think they're for some of the discussion items and the recognition of extraordinary public service over the years. Anyone here wish to offer public comment on something that may not be on the agenda? To get something off your chest, share something new and good, that would be fine too. Well, made an effort. We'll close public comment and we'll move on with approval of the minutes. Let's see. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, would you be kind enough to offer that motion, please?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. I move to approve the minutes from the weeks of October 28th and November 4th, 2024.
Wonderful. That is indeed a proper motion. Any comments, colleagues? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. Next item is review of the upcoming schedule for the commissioners. Sarah, that one is yours.
This is the Commissioner's schedule for November 18th through the 23rd, 2024. On Monday, November 18th from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Colorado Department of Transportation statewide Transportation Advisory Committee and Transportation Commission Coordination meeting. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., there will be a work session regarding Water Master Plan Review in the Commissioner's Conference Room on the second floor. From 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be a work session for a quarterly Climate Smart Future Ready update in the Commissioner's Conference Room on the second floor. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual State Forest Health Council Leveraging Resources meeting. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources in the Commissioner's Conference Room on the second floor. From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., there will be land use items with the Development Review Team. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be in the hearing room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally may attend the Associated Students of Colorado State University Evening with Your Elected Officials event at the Laurie Student Center at 1101 Center Mall Avenue in Fort Collins. On Tuesday, November 19th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Community Corrections Advisory Board meeting at the Boyd Lake Conference Room on the first floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be Administrative Direction County Management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. From 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will participate in the virtual LaPorte Area Planning Advisory Committee meeting. On Wednesday, November 20th, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be a budget retreat at the Arrowhead Lake Conference Room on the fourth floor. From 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally may attend the Veterans Together meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be in the Boyd Lake Conference Room or virtually via Zoom. From 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the 2024 Fort Collins Area Chamber Year-End Celebration at Harmony Club at 4175 Club Drive in Timnath. From 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Open Lands Advisory Board meeting at the Horsetooth Area Information Center at 4200 West County Road 38E in Fort Collins. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at the Larimer County Loveland campus at 200 Peridot Avenue in Loveland or virtually via Zoom. On Thursday, November 21st from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Kafalis may participate in the Virtual Housing Catalyst Board of Commissioners meeting. From 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization Finance Committee meeting. From 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual non-attainment area air pollution mitigation enterprise meeting. From 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Land Stewardship Advisory Board meeting at the Horsetooth Area Information Center at 4200 West County Road 38E in Fort Collins. From 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the Board of Health meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 1525 Blue Spruce Drive in Fort Collins or virtually via Zoom. On Friday, November 22nd, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may participate in the virtual Colorado Counties, Inc. and Colorado Department of Early Childhood check-in meeting. And on Saturday, November 23rd, from 4 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend the Estes Park annual tree lighting ceremony at Bond Park at 170 McGregor Avenue in Estes Park.
Thank you, Sarah. Colleagues, any feedback? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Sarah, and for Melissa as well for all the things that you do to help us wrangle the schedules. I probably will add on Thursday, November 21st, from 4 to probably 4:45 because it's a Zoom meeting. Attend the CCI Commissioner of Agriculture Zoom meeting. It's from 4 to 5 p.m., but I'll probably be on my way up to the land stewardship meeting. So just want to add that on the calendar. Thanks.
Is that all?
Yes, thank you, sir. Sorry.
Yes. Commissioner Stevens, anything?
Yeah, I had kind of forgotten about the evening with the elected officials with the ASCSU on the Monday, November 18th, so I do want to add that to my calendar. And then I may go up on that Saturday for the annual tree lighting ceremony, so I'd like to add those both to my calendar. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. And the only thing I would add for myself, Sarah, is on Friday, November 22nd, after the CCI check-in with the Colorado Department of Early Childhood, I now have a from 12 to 1:30 virtual. I've been appointed to serve on the Implementation Advisory Committee, the Intensive Behavioral Health Services Implementation Advisory Committee, and this has to do with legislation that was passed in the 2024 session regarding children and youth that have high acuity needs, behavioral health needs. So 12 to 1:30, and I can tell you more if you need more information.
That should be good for now. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, I'm glad that is good for now. Okay, then we can move on. And consent agenda. That one is is mine. So the consent agenda includes items that are, all of the details are posted on the website. They are typically more routine, administrative in nature. We kind of go through it quickly. I'll highlight what's listed. If you want more information, it's on the website. So, and then we do a motion to approve in mass. A commissioner can pull off something from the consent agenda if they choose. First of all, we have the first category is abatements. There are 13 petitions for abatement or refund of taxes, and in all 13, the assessor's value of the property is being upheld, and the applicable tax year is 2023. So petitions for abatement or refund of taxes, 13 items, and once again, you're more than welcome to check out the details. The next area has to do with agreements. There are 4 agreements. The first one is a Larimer County cable television agreement. This is with the city of Fort Collins. Construct, operate, and maintain cable television systems. And the terms are upon the signature today between the county and the city. There is no dollar amount involved. This is an ongoing relationship, and they're the ones that provide the broadcasting for various meetings, public meetings that we have. The second is also a Larimer County cable television agreement, and this one is similar, and again, there are no dollar amounts involved, and the terms are upon the signing today. The third agreement is National Fish Wildlife Foundation, the Restore Big Game Habitat Intergovernmental Agreement, IGA. This is a second amendment. This is between the Larimer County Department of Natural Resources and the Jefferson County Open Space. And basically, this is allowing the county to use an additional approximately $10,000 that unused grant funds, and these dollars have been used to mitigate cheatgrass in particular, but weed species that have been on our public lands, and we've been collaborating with Jefferson County. The terms of this agreement and the amendment 2, this began back in August 30th, 2022, and it runs through January 31 of 2025. And again, this is an amendment. I've mentioned the parties: our county natural resources, Jefferson County Open Space, Boulder County Open Space, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, and the City of Fort Collins Natural Areas Department. Overall, the total dollar amount, these grant dollars, are approximately $172,000. And again, it's 10,000 unused grant funds that will be used by the county. The next is an employment agreement, third amendment. Our county attorney's office has been working on this. This is the county manager's, our county manager, Lorenda Volker. Her employment agreement is scheduled to expire at the end of 2024. And this is the third amendment, proposes to extend the term of her employment through the end of next year, 2025. Adjust the county manager's salary to include, just like everyone else in this shop, a 2% market and 3% merit increase in salary for 2025. Adjust, and this is something that we discussed as well, adjust the amount of severance paid to the county manager if the employment contract is terminated by the commissioners without cause and within 180 days following the seating and swearing in of one or more commissioners. Just a tiny bit of context there. One of our responsibilities as commissioners is to annually evaluate the performance of the county manager. We appoint that individual as well as the county attorney. This last amendment to her employment contract or agreement has to do with providing the county manager with more security should there be a change in the commissioners. Technically, the commissioners could let the county manager go, but we're not planning to do that because she's done a great job. So that is the employment agreement. It begins January 1 of 2025 to the end of the year between the commissioners and Lorenda. And again, the details can be found online. Moving on to the next category, appointments. Try to get through this quickly. First is a recommended midterm appointment to the Trappers Point Public Improvement District, PID. Individual Steve Stroh is to a midterm appointment to this PID beginning December 1 of this year, ending November 30th of 2026. Continuing along with the Trappers Point PID, this is a recommended appointment. There are two individuals, Alan Recknagel and Larry Bowder, different terms, full-term appointments to this PID beginning December 1, ending November 30th, 2028. Moving along, the next is the Trotwood Ranches PID. Again, an appointment. This is full-term appointment, Maureen Dunn, and that goes to December 1st of this year to November 30th of 2028. All this is pretty exciting, isn't it? There's a few more. Box Elder Basin Regional Stormwater Authority recommended appointment, Kenneth Sampley. This is to complete the term to the joint Larimer County City of Fort Collins seat of the Box Elder Basin Regional Stormwater Authority beginning December 3rd of this year, ending April 30th of 2026. Recommended midterm appointment to the Behavioral Health Policy Council, Chad Morris. Reappoint Chad Morris to a midterm appointment to the Behavioral Health Policy Council beginning December 1, ending November 30th, 2026. Finally, recommended appointment to the Environmental and Science Advisory Board, Michael Jones, to appoint Michael to the ESAB beginning November 12th, today, and ending June 30th, 2027. Moving on, deed of dedication from Alpine Vista MAC LLC for right-of-way for a particular project. This is along 57th Street in Loveland, a deed of dedication for right-of-way. This term is perpetual. Then we move on to liquor licenses. We have three. They are all renewals. Liquor license renewal. The Dow House up in Tahosa Valley near Estes Park. Approval and issuance, hotel and restaurant with optional premises. Thank you all for your attentiveness. The next is the Rock Inn, Estes Park, brew pub approval. Thirdly, liquor license renewal, the Windjammer Roadhouse. This is in Loveland, a tavern license type approval and issuance. The next category is miscellaneous. First is Larimer County Natural Resources Open Lands Advisory Board updates to their bylaws. The second is a warranty memorandum for Pond Farm Conservation Development between the commissioners and this particular development. The third is the 2025 solid waste fee schedule. This was submitted by our solid waste department director, requesting approval of the fee schedule for next year. There was a public meeting on November 4th here in the evening, along with a presentation of our proposed 2025 county budget. And now we will go through the formal approval process. Finally, a workforce restructuring policy. Oh, this is under policy. the primary change in this policy, this has to do with severance paid after a layoff from continuing an employee as an active non-working employee for 4 to 8 weeks, instead giving a lump sum payout of 4 to 8 weeks. And there are other updates to the workforce employment policy, technical changes, etc. Finally, resolution regulations relating to Larimer County Open Records Act CORA requests, and this is to adopt rules updating our CORA procedures in light of new legislation. So that's it. Yay. Colleagues, do either of you wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? All right, then I believe Commissioner Stevens, would you offer the proper motion, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I move to approve the consent agenda for November 12th, 2024.
Thank you very much. Don't believe there's any further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. Okay, we now move on to commissioners' guests, and it's exciting and special. We have an individual here that we'd like to recognize, Steve Human, a recognition for 20 years of service, fair and rodeo boards. Who will be presenting this? I guess we can. So, come on up, Steve. You've been sitting too long. You need to move around.
So I can start, Mr. Chair, since
Oh,
he's the chair of the rodeo board, and I'm the commissioner liaison.
good idea.
Thank you. Would you say at the podium, Steve? And I just want to. So today is a bittersweet day. Steve Human has been with Larimer County Fair. The Fair Board and the Rodeo Board, mostly the Rodeo Board, because what year did it separate? I think it was.
Oh, goodness. I started in 05 and spent 9 years on both boards.
Right,
and
yeah.
Then,
And then you've been still kind of the liaison, but you've been on this board for 20 years and
correct.
chairing the as long as I've been commissioner, chairing the rodeo board, maybe even then some, and done a just spectacular job. And if folks don't know how much work goes into the fair board and the rodeo board, but especially even the rodeo board, it's a working board, and they spend all 3 days of the rodeo riding horses, volunteering, chasing mutton busted, helping kids get out of the dirt after mutton busted, and just tremendous amount of organization and helping with the Queen's bar, just all these things that you have done for so long. And I know that in your heart, you love the fair and rodeo. You love rodeo. With all the work that you've done, the Larimer County Fair and Rodeo on its 75th anniversary won Mid-Size Rodeo of the Year for Western States. That's never happened. It was very special. There's all these things with keeping our licensure and our membership in with the PRCA Rodeo, and there's just lots of details. And when you have your meetings, you have this list of things that have to be done every month, and then all these volunteers. And Steve, you have done so with just that passion and dedication to this really strong heritage and tradition in Larimer County, but also you always look to mentor and bring up some of the younger folks who are cowboys or that have had some of that experience, and just there's a lot there, and it's a lot of details that a lot of people don't see because the rodeo gets executed with just precision because it has to be down to the minute with those timelines. And I don't think a lot of people in the public know how much work comes in from our volunteers. And this is all volunteer. And you've been doing that for 20 years. And so I know that you got called from back in 2004, former County Commissioner Cathy Reynolds asked if you'd be interested in applying. And that's about the time that when the ranch was starting to come in the new fairgrounds place, and she was kind of visionary with that. And so it's just been just remarkable to work with you. You've taught me a lot. It's been great to work with you and to ride in the that last round around the last rodeo night, riding with you in the wagon to give a chance to honor you. And your colleagues honored you with a very special belt buckle. That was beautiful, amazing.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say thank you for all of your time. You and your wife give a lot of extra time and go above and beyond that whole fair week. And I'm going to miss you. And I know that you are still going to be helping. You're not going too far, but you're trying to have a nice retirement and spend some time with your lovely wife. But I know that you're going to help kind of transition. And I can't thank you enough, Steve, for all that you're doing and I have done. And the legacy that you're leaving behind, our rodeo is tremendously phenomenal with your leadership, and the entire rodeo board has just been phenomenal. And you guys really love and care about this rodeo. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's definitely been a labor of love and a huge privilege to be allowed to do this for 20 years for Larimer County. And yeah, the rodeo board is very special, and people on the board dedicate so much time and energy to it because they just are so tied to that lifestyle and that sport and the county fair in general. And so thank you for letting us do this.
Thanks, Stephen. So we'll go to Commissioner Stevens. I'll offer a couple of thoughts, and we'll also ask Lorinda. And then if there's anything else you'd like to share, that would be wonderful. And then we have this really nice plaque, and so we'll pause for a bit. We'll give you the plaque, and then we'll pause for take photos and all of that. So thank you so much, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I just want to thank you for all your service, Steve. It's just such a pleasure to have gotten to know you over the past several years. And even though you weren't technically on the fair board, you were the liaison to the fair board for the rodeo board. I mean, you were on the fair board for a while, but when I was on the fair board as a liaison, you were no longer technically on the fair board. You were just a liaison to the fair board. However, you were still at every single meeting, letting folks know what was happening with the rodeo. And so it's not like you got out of some of those duties.
Right.
And I know about your commitment to both the fair and the rodeo. And I just, we asked you a little bit about your service, and I didn't know that you were appointed to the Larimer County Blue Ribbon Task Force to evaluate sites for the new fairgrounds. So you were an integral part of making sure that the fairgrounds happened. I think you helped with the tax. Is that right?
Yes.
And so, it seems like you were the minute your kids got to 4-H age, you were all in, not only helping with your kiddos, but also helping the fair become successful as it is now. And so anybody who's ever had gone to the fair at the old fairgrounds knows what a vast improvement the new fairgrounds are. And so just, your commitment to Larimer County goes back even before your service on the fair board, right? You had that commitment to the county and making sure that 4-H and the rodeo and the fair were successful. So just, for decades of service, we're just so grateful for you, and you certainly deserve a break. And we're happy you get one, but we're sorry to see you leave. And like I said, your professionalism, your calmness has helped everybody else kind of stay calm in a situation that can get pretty hectic at fair time. And so really appreciate your leadership in that space. And so we're really happy to honor you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just a couple of thoughts and maybe a couple of questions. Don't want you to get off too easy, Steve. Certainly, I've appreciated, since I've been a commissioner these past 6 years, give or take, getting to know you. I mean, I think all this work is about relationships, and I'm very happy and honored and privileged to get to know you and your family and learn more about mutton busting, which is my favorite rodeo activity, as well as the barrel racing. So I'm grateful for that, and just as a reminder that the Fair and Rodeo Board, I mean, hardcore working, work all year round to organize the fairs and the rodeos. But we have like 30 or so boards and commissions, which are really important, provide guidance, input to us, the commissioners and others, staff, to make informed decisions. So this is one of the more critical ones because that annual event, the Fair and Rodeo, is such a big deal. It's an economic driver. It brings families together, and 4-H is they have a lot of fun and everything else. So I just appreciate all your hard work and commitment. I'm curious, over the 20 years or so that you've served, and there was mention of how it, I guess in your real life you were a civil engineer, and you got you had 4-H kids, and 4-H kind of morphed into all these other things. But I'm curious, what would you consider to be perhaps an aspect of your legacy regarding the work that you've contributed to at the fair and rodeo? A thing that just jumps out at you as a legacy kind of thing, or something that you're most proud of. That would be nice to know, if you feel like sharing.
Yes. Well, I mean, there are a lot of things, and there have been a lot of changes and a lot of positives with the fair and rodeo, and a lot of it, again, is thanks to you all and the ranch staff and everybody. But I think I did. It kind of was my idea to start with to initiate the 4-H family night and
That's right.
offer discounted tickets to 4-H families. And we have been selling on that Monday night. I think the first year was around 500 tickets, and now it's easily 1,500 tickets for that one night. That used to be kind of half empty on a Monday night in the arena. Now it's full. It's our best night. It's our sellout night. And we were able to honor the 4-H families and give them a little bit of a discount on a night when they do the Parade of Champions after all of the animal judging is over anyway. So very, very proud of that. And it's been a huge success.
Thank you for sharing, Steve. I don't have anything else at the moment. Lorinda, is there anything you'd like to share, please?
I guess I'll just reiterate that these boards and commissions are all volunteer, and
That's right.
it's clear this has been a labor of love for you, and you have a well-deserved retirement coming. But we know that you will not be far from the fair and rodeo throughout the coming years. I don't think you can help yourself, but your reputation precedes you. Thank you for your time. These are very much working boards, and you all work hard all year long. It's not just the week of the rodeo. It is a lot of planning, a lot of scheduling, looking out to the future, and I think your leadership has been really critical to making the rodeo even more successful each year. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll present the plaque so folks can see that.
From a very grateful and thankful county and Board of County Commissioners. Thank you for your
There you
appreciation, with great appreciation and recognition of your 20 years of service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you
And
so
we'll,
much.
We'll pause and take a picture.
Okay.
So, thank you, Steve. Thanks, everyone. We'll pause for a moment to take a photograph, and the folks waiting in the queue will be doing pictures with you as well, so be prepared. All right, we are back broadcasting, and the audio is available through the website as well. Uh, we just paused to take a photograph of one of our we're very fortunate to have folks with a long-standing commitment to serving on volunteer boards and commissions and helping with fairs and rodeos. And we just honored an individual, Steve Human. Pause to take a photograph. We'll now move on to our discussion item. Some folks have been waiting very patiently. This is a proclamation declaring November 2024 as National Family Caregivers Month. And so we do have a proclamation. Is there someone who wishes to cue this up? Say a little bit about the proclamation from the staff. Is that Danny? Hello, welcome. If you would be kind enough to introduce yourself, and we are anxious to hear all your good words.
Wonderful, thank you. Good morning. My name is Danny Martin, and I'm a case manager for the Office on Aging Family Caregiver Support Program within Larimer County Human Services. I'm joined today by the Office on Aging Program Manager, Erin Alt, and the ADRC Program Supervisor, Tiffany Ballou. Also here today with us is Tracy Secret, who cares for her father, and Phyllis Schakowsky, who cares for her granddaughter. In just a few minutes, you will be able to hear both of their statements. I want to first thank you all for allowing our team to be here today and for the opportunity to say a few words about family caregivers. The theme for this year's National Family Caregiver Month is I Care. This theme highlights the importance of self-recognition and self-identity, an element of caregiving that we know is a significant barrier to caregivers accessing the tools necessary to support them throughout their caregiver journey. In the U.S., more than half of those providing care don't recognize themselves as caregivers. When we ask family caregivers to describe how they care for their loved ones, this is what we hear. I care for my mom by listening, understanding, and providing the comfort that she needs. I care for my husband by informing my faith leader about my role as his caregiver so that we can receive spiritual guidance and connect with additional support. I care for my grandparents by advocating for them and ensuring their voices are heard and their needs are met. I care for my grandkids by sharing my story with my friends so that they can offer emotional and practical support to me. The importance of family caregivers in our society could not be understated. 27 years ago, on November 22nd, 1997, President Bill Clinton was the first president to proclaim November 23rd through 29 as National Family Caregiver Week. In his words, during this season of Thanksgiving, when we reflect on the many blessings that have bestowed on us as individuals and as a nation, we are especially grateful for the love of our families and friends. One of the most profound ways in which that love is expressed is through the generous support provided by caregivers to those who need help if they are to remain in their homes and communities. In 1997, 25% of U.S. households had a family caregiver. Today, 31% of U.S. households have a family caregiver, and that percentage is growing as the population ages. In Colorado, 10% of the state's population are family caregivers. That equates to approximately 600,000 people providing unpaid care to a loved one right here in our state. Family caregivers contribute an estimated $8 billion annually to the Colorado economy through their unpaid labor, providing invaluable support to our healthcare system. We observe Family Caregiver Month to call attention to the societal values that these caregivers provide. When I meet with new family caregivers who are struggling to find their way, I remind them that nobody receives training to be a family caregiver before they become one. No one is fully prepared to deal with the emotional toll that will tax their mind and spirit after they see their spouse no longer recognize them. There's no formal class to take on how to give your parent a shower when they no longer can bathe themselves. No one anticipates how strenuous it is to be the sole decision maker of your family. There's not one person who's fully equipped to take on all of the financial, physical, and mental stress that comes with being the primary caregiver to your grandchildren. Yet, despite all of these challenges, family caregivers manage to navigate through the discomfort to provide quality care to their loved ones. Family caregivers, while often invisible in our community, are a resilient group of people whose work tremendously impacts the community for the good. National Family Caregiver Month is about celebrating family caregivers and thanking them for their devotion. We are here today not only to recognize the sacrifices that caregivers make on a daily basis, but also to advocate for action to be taken now and throughout the year to provide tangible help for family caregivers in Larimer County. Improvements to flexible work policies, financial assistance, public assistance benefits, and family leave programs are a few ways to demonstrate our support and commitment to these invaluable heroes. Thank you for your commitment to this important cause. As always, Commissioners Kafalas, Stevens, and Shattuck McNelly, we appreciate your time, your proclamation, and your commitment to family caregivers in Larimer County. Now, I would like to welcome Tracy and Phyllis to come up and join me as they share their statements related to their caregiver experiences.
Thank you, Danny.
Yeah.
Come on up, folks.
Come on up.
Yay.
Hello,
Welcome.
everyone. My name is Tracy. I appreciate this opportunity to speak on my experience as a caregiver for my father. I've been caregiving for my dad since 2020. I picked him up from Florida, where he resided, and I'm currently the only family member around to take care of my dad. Everybody else lives in Florida still. I'm also a part of the sandwich generation, where I have 2 children, minor children myself, and then providing full-time care for my father, who has early onset Alzheimer's. That requires all care. He doesn't speak, walk, can't feed himself, can't give himself water, everything. So the journey has been an honor, but also quite a learning experience because, like it was said, I wasn't offered any classes on how to change my dad or how to manage all the care that he needs financially and everything. But also to being the only family caregiver, I quit my job and also lost resources as far as health care and stuff. So I've been managing these past 3 years without any health care myself. And oddly enough, this has been the most time in my life where I've needed health care the most. I'm sustaining illnesses and injury as a personal caregiver for my dad, and then not being able to acquire the health care that I need, and then also to worrying about being penalized for not having health care myself when it comes time to file taxes has been one area that I've been struggling with the most. Yeah, also too feeling like I don't know what I'm doing along the way. I feel very alone in this process, even though there is community support out there accessing it, and having the time to leave my dad has been quite a challenge as well. Yeah, so that's been my experience and one of my main struggles.
Tracy, thank you for sharing your personal story. If you are comfortable, is your first name spelled with an E?
It is. It's
And,
Ekrit.
and your last name, please, just for the record for Lindsay. Could you say your last name?
My last name is Ekrit. It's like
Oh,
secret, but with an E. Tracy Ekrit.
thank you.
Yeah.
And again, thanks a lot for sharing your personal story.
Oh, absolutely. Appreciate the time. It's been an honor, but also a challenge within myself. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Phyllis Jahowski. I prepared a few remarks to share my story today. Thank you for this opportunity to speak about my lived experience being a kinship caregiver grandparent. I'm actually a great grandparent. My husband and I are the great grandparents of a little girl. In 2016, 8 years ago, we received a call to discuss being a family caregiver for our great granddaughter who was due sometime around Christmas. Initially, we expected to help out with shared infant care with her grandmother. On December 18th, we learned that no one was available to go to the hospital to pick up the infant. So on December 19th, I flew to Oklahoma City Hospital to pick her up. In the terms of our private family agreement outside the Department of Human Services, we were mandated to use community resources for help. The child had only Medicare, Medicaid, and no monetary resources. Thus, on arrival in Oklahoma City, we had only the resources of a child-infant community center to provide diapers, clothing, blankets, and formula. A fire station in Fort Collins here donated an infant seat that I carried with me. On examination by the discharging doctor there, I was given permission to fly home with a baby and her 5-day supply of formula. On arrival in Colorado, we became madly in search for resources. As she already mentioned, we weren't trained for this. We were retired. We did not expect this job. The baby didn't tolerate the formula. She was judged to be on the 1 percentile of growth chart. Salud provided a pediatrician that accepted Medicaid. It also took 2 other formulas over a couple of months to get one that she could tolerate. The WIC office provided guidance and formula. WIC also referred us to a community health office in their building for resources and told us about the Larimer County Food Bank for infant food, diapers, and wet wipes. The community health office also directed us to the Department of Human Services office, which we did not know about, and to some community resources. These community resources included the Dream Room and the Kids Closet for blankets and clothing, the Marisol House for clothing, bedding, and some foods. At the Department of Human Services, we also learned how to process a TANF application after first having the Department of Human Services try to get child support from the parents. The mother was incarcerated, and without a job, the father was never able to be located. We heard about and enrolled in a Grand Care's Powerful Tools for Caregivers class in early 2017, but we were put on a wait list because they didn't have any funding for childcare during the class. The early childhood wait list for free childcare was also long, but it gave us a weekly mentor in the interim when she was about 2 years old. Finally, after a 2-year wait, early childhood education provided a 6-week interactive parenting class with supper and childcare and an entrance into La Familia for 2 days of respite care. They also suggested a family trauma counselor to help us deal with the ongoing abuse and trauma issues in our extended family. Preschool was through PSD when she became 4 in 2020, just in time for an online class with COVID. So we were home for that year. Another resource education was found through TBRI, which is Trust-Based Relationship Intervention. It helps with families and children from trauma abuse background. We studied and became certified. It was a free 4-week class on Fridays provided by the Weld County Department of Human Services, but we had to travel to Firestone. We worked with a support group and we had a home mentor. Eventually, we found resources and peer support and programs as members of a local Grand Family Coalition. These are grandparents raising kin or other grands, and I know that you know about it. Legal advice was also needed to learn about our rights, how the system worked in Colorado, how to learn about how to form an APR, an appropriation for family responsibility, and to find low-cost and free legal help. Through the Larimer County Records Department, we gradually learned what was available, what paperwork we needed, how to fill it out, and how to file. An assigned court judge assistant provided step-by-step guidance. It was complicated and lengthy. We started in March of 2017 and finally completed it in October of 2018. We had to file paperwork with Social Security, have amendments made to the birth certificate, and provide background information and proofs. There have been extended family, legal, and other expenses time after time after time. Due to lengthy incarceration, crime, drugs, and alcohol, the mother, and the struggling lifestyle of her single grandmother, this baby has now lived with us nearly 8 years. She is now in 2nd grade. We expect to raise her to legal age. We are attempting to put a second guardian family in place in case we can't meet that goal of surviving ourselves that long. And we're collaborating with her mother should we not be able to do so. This child has Colorado TANF, Medicaid, and scholarships for childcare and after-school activities that help, but we've received no substantial childcare support from the mother. We offered to adopt, but both the mother and the presiding judge suggested it was not in the best interests of the child. In America, we are in a national crisis with drugs, alcohol. Some estimate we've lost a whole generation. We are lucky to have the income and community resources to help support this girl, but many caregiver families do not have financial affordability, legal, educational, housing, and respite help. As you know, it is estimated there are 3,600 children living in Larimer County, 36,000 in Colorado, something like 7 million nationwide. Many families have low income and use TANF for their support. A great number of these children live with kin. In 2024, the Grand Family Coalition Kinship Caregivers data tallied 454 children being served by 166 families, 90% being outside of DHS management. Among these kin, there are 70 caregivers between the ages of 60 and 79. There are 23 families between 54 and 60. 30 families between 30 and 54. And there are 9 of us that are over 80. Remember, I'm a great-grandparent raising a great-grandchild. As certified through the Department of Human Services, foster caregivers receive financial help for providing the child care. Recent laws federal laws actually, have now made it possible for kin caregivers to become certified and to also receive financial help. However, if in like my situation, the child care arrangements were made outside the Department of Human Services, we are not eligible to become certified nor to receive any financial assistance. However, new federal, I think you'd call it 6-4E, does that title sound familiar? Is available, but the state and the county need to channel it and determine how the monies are spent. You have done a lot for Larimer County. I have known John for a long, long time. Jody, I have met. You are new to me, but I'm looking forward to meeting you more. You work very hard to resolve underserved situations in our county. Today, I'm going to ask you to do something even harder to raise awareness and get help for us kin caregivers in these 3 ways. Number 1, first, make funding resources easy to find. Provide extensive resource information that's easily obtainable for any and all family caregivers. You just heard my long story about how we had to look and look and look for resources and how difficult it was to find. Um, Number 2, recognize that not all foster grandchildren and great grandchildren are serviced within the Department of Human Services. Those family arrangements outside really desperately need financial and legal help. The federal funding is available through, again, Title 6E, 4E. States can choose to make additional decisions that can help financially. Larimer County has been named as one of 5 Colorado counties that have been highlighted to deal with this need. And they provide guidance through Kinship Navigators programs. Please make it a priority to get this federal money. And finally, number 3, it is really crucial to fund the nonprofits who maintain programs and resources to help these families. The Office on Aging have a group for caregivers, including grandparents raising grandchildren and other kin, help with education classes like the Powerful Tools for Caregiver, and they also provide a voucher dollars. Initially, it was about $800 a year, and it's been increased now to $1,200 a year. We hope to offer more caregiver classes. I myself am a recent volunteer, I might say, with the Office on Aging, and I've taught my first class. However, they cannot provide extensive and regular income for these families. Nonprofits are already doing the work of kinship family peer support, providing resources, education, and programs. Funding the nonprofits can expand the resources and support. They do not have access to Title VI 4E dollars. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you both for sharing your stories. A lot to consider and process there. Is there anyone else who, from the Office on Aging? Okay. Then I think what is best is we'll now read the proclamation and then see if the commissioners, if we have questions or comments or feedback for folks. And then we'll get to take a picture. We have a proclamation. Let's see, Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
It is a humble honor to read this proclamation as a long-term family caregiver as myself. I will read the 2024 National Family Caregivers Month proclamation. Whereas family caregivers are the heart and backbone of our community. Approximately 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. is a family caregiver, translating to about 53 million people providing unpaid care to an adult or child. And whereas family caregivers selflessly dedicate their time, energy, finances, and love to improve the quality of life for those they care for. And whereas caregiving can take a toll on physical and mental health, many caregivers report experiencing high levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. Approximately 40 to 70% of caregivers have significant symptoms of depression. And whereas the contributions of family caregivers often go unrecognized, yet they are critical to the health and well-being of our families, communities, and healthcare system. And whereas we encourage our communities to provide support and appreciation for family caregivers, including respite services, educational programs, and access to resources. And whereas Larimer County is committed to creating a community that honors and supports caregivers. Now, therefore, we of Larimer County do hereby proclaim November 2024 as Family Caregivers Month, recognizing this year's theme as I Care. We urge all community members to recognize and celebrate the contributions of family caregivers and to offer support and assistance to those who serve in this critical role. And so this is Family Caregivers Month, Awareness Month, dated this 12th day of November 2024. And Mr. Chair, I move to approve the proclamation declaring November 2024 as National Family Caregivers Month.
Thank you, Commissioner. Before we vote on the motion before us, let's see if folks have any questions or comments Then we'll vote on the motion, and then we'll pause for a photograph. Let's see, Commissioner Shattuck McNally, you're on a roll.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. This is near and dear to my heart. I've been a caregiver for my grandparents and my parents since, I don't know, 1997 off and on, taking care of my grandparents and trying to honor their wishes and my parents' wishes to be living, aging where they choose to be, age in place with dignity and grace. And both of your stories spoke so well to me. With my husband's extended family, we have also had some caregiving opportunities as well, where we took in some of our nieces and nephews at a time when it was not a good place for them to be with other families. So, one of the hardest times in my life was when I had my daughter, my third child, was an infant. My mom was in the hospital, deathly ill with breast cancer, and she couldn't take care of her mother. And I was taking care of my grandmother, and my dad wasn't able to take care of himself or his grandmother. And so I was running, and I was raising three kids, and my husband working, and I was running all over back between Boulder and Larimer County. And I didn't know of the resources then because I wasn't a commissioner and I was in Office on Aging, and just you're just doing it yourself and trying to make sure your kids got to school and practice and homework and trying to figure out what to cook because you can't afford to just grab something, and then trying to be at the hospital the right time to hear from the physician. Is my mom going to ever get off this machine that's keeping her alive, and all these things. So I just want to tell you, it's kind of brought up a lot of that. We forget so much about these unseen heroes in our community. It says in the proclamation, and it's the heart and soul and backbone of our nation's system of long-term care. And they provide such loving care that is so critical for so many people. It would cost over, I think it's $700 billion a year now of unpaid, unseen care. And it's loving care because we love those folks. We want them to have end of life. I remember trying to coordinate, make sure, my dad got his favorite meal once a month, or my grandma got to go to church with her friend, and I'd give him money to take her out to dinner and bring her home. And all those things are just, it's because you love and you care, you want them to have. And Tracy and Phyllis, thank you for sharing your stories. Yesterday was Veterans Day, and one of the speakers said we need to encourage people to share their stories and tell their stories. We need to listen. And so thank you for your courageous statements today and sharing what is obviously a struggle. I wish I had a magic wand so I could fix all of this, because it continues. I've been trying to figure this out for a long time. And we know there's been some cuts in funding at the federal and state level, and we still need to fight and advocate for that. You're right, Phyllis. There's a lot of things we need to try and bring attention to, raise awareness. But we're talking about the veterans. The gentleman encouraged veterans. There's a lot of them suffering in silence for their sacrifice, and how we need to have veterans highlighting and bringing awareness of veterans. And there's veterans taking care of veterans, and there's family caregivers taking care of our children and our future. And it's just, we need to take care of each other, because there are a lot of people taking care of loved ones, and we need to help take care of them. And so all the folks, the nonprofits and respite caregivers, thank you. Tireless work, and I know there's a struggle for funding, and nonprofits, great point, and we just need to continue to raise this awareness. And so I'm glad that we do this with long-term care, respite care, kinship care. We do all these proclamations. They're not just for the photo op. It's to make sure we keep these issues front and center, and make sure we tell the stories. Make sure people know of what people are living, what their lives are like, and what everyone is struggling to do the right thing, and to provide, loving care for all these folks, because everyone deserves to have a quality of life. And so thank you for being here today. Very proud to support this proclamation. And I, again, want to thank you for sharing your stories. It's heartfelt and something that I so get it, but I can't imagine trying to raise a great grandchild. So thank you for that, and also to take care of your dad with loving care. That means so much. I know how it was with my dad's last days. So thank you for taking care of such loving care of your dad, and Office on Aging staff. I've been, before I became commissioner, on that on the advisory board, and I know you guys every day. Work so hard to help people navigate those resources, because I didn't know about, same story. We didn't know about all these resources, and not every county has them. And I've always said, how do we help caregivers know about these things before they get in the middle of it? And it's so stressful. And how do you know that you don't have to sell your car and sell all these assets so you can get care, right? I remember my dad was so panicked about that. So I just, that's something we still have to do, is just make sure we know that caregivers know about these resources before they get into the middle of it, so they can kind of prepare. So thank you all, and appreciate the opportunity to just to give my heartfelt gratitude to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, thank you. Just thank you, Tracy and Phyllis, for sharing your stories. The struggle that you're going through and the exhaustion that you must feel is very evident, but so is the love that you have for doing this work. And so I appreciate your willingness to kind of go outside yourselves to even help other people and to share your stories about what the struggle's like, but that there are resources and that we need to certainly make more resources available to people who are going through something similar, because there are a lot of families who are. I think that work is unheralded, unsung, and that's why we're here today to say, we honor you and all the other people that weren't here today that are taking care of loved ones, in a way that needs to be done. And I think about Tracy, when you shared your story about not having insurance. I mean, that's why insurance. I mean, we passed a resolution about Medicare for all. Precisely for this reason, because there are so many people in our community that are doing that work and can't access insurance. That's not right. Insurance shouldn't be tied to your job. And we saw that during COVID, when people lost their jobs and all of a sudden they were without insurance during a pandemic. So we need to figure that out for sure. And then Phyllis, I wrote down the three things that you asked us to do as commissioners. I will certainly look into doing that, because we do want to support people in our community who are doing this hard work. You are doing unpaid, loving, difficult work every single day. And I just want you to know that we see you and we acknowledge you and we want to support you. And for the staff members that are here that are doing that support, thank you so much for doing that, because we don't want people in our community to struggle without the help. That's what we're here for. That's what we need to do as leaders. That's what we need to do with the with human services. And I just know that we care about you, and we will look for ways to help. We do have some budget issues coming up, unfortunately, and but we will help the best we can with people who are in need. And thank you for doing that work. And we wish you all the best, to you and your loved ones. And take care of yourselves too. I hope you have time. I know there's probably not a lot of time to do that as well, not even to take care of your physical health, clearly. And so do what you can to do that, so you can continue to do that hard work. And take care, everyone.
Thanks, Commissioner. Let's see. It's not a whole lot I can add, just a lot of gratitude for the Office on Aging staff, and certainly the Tracy and Phyllis who coming here, taking the time to be here, seeing how this works. I think when one shares their personal story, they kind of put themselves out there and a little bit vulnerable to share the story, and it takes a lot of strength and courage. So thank you for demonstrating that. Um, I can relate to. It's not the same thing, but we do help. We have a 7-year-old, second grader, granddaughter that is blessed to live in a home where she is loved, nurtured, and has lots of opportunities to learn. And but between my wife and I, we provide quite a bit of care. And she does go home every night to her parents, and she does attend Harris Bilingual School. Uh, but we're helping the parents a lot in terms of costs for childcare and all sorts of things. So I thought I'd share that tiny bit. I have a question though, and then see if our wise county manager has anything she would like to share. And hopefully, I won't forget that we need to vote on the motion. Sometimes I do that. And my question is for staff. I wanted to make sure, number one, I captured the three ideas or suggestions that were offered. And if so, I'm curious what staff can say, whether it's Danny or Erin or whomever. What are we doing about this? The first item was something about, and I may have missed some of this, funding resources of that the funding resources are available in a way that's easy to access, not confusing. Sometimes things can be confusing. The second item that I thought I was understanding is that because some of these arrangements in this the one story had to do outside of the system, therefore people providing care to great grandchildren cannot access some of the resources, some of the funding. And then I think one was about funding nonprofits that are doing this work. We typically don't do that, the county necessarily, so that might be uh, difficult. Danny, did I capture some of that correctly? And if so,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any comments, please?
Yeah. Yeah. We.
And if I didn't, it's okay to say so.
No, you did. You're
Oh,
great. Thank you. Um, we try to make our funding as accessible as possible for all family caregivers. Our grand family respite voucher and our standard respite voucher, we try to disperse the funding as evenly as possible. We try to bring new caregivers onto our voucher programs as much as we can. If we have a wait list, we prioritize caregivers who are new to our program and those of low socioeconomic status. So if we run into any funding issues, we try to prioritize getting those new caregivers into the system and into our program to make sure that they're getting that support as well, and making sure we're connecting them with the resources as soon as we can. As far as making people aware of the funding opportunities through the Office on Aging, we do outreach programs. We offer our caregiver classes. So sometimes caregivers will be introduced to the family caregiver program by joining a class, whether it's on Zoom or in person. And that way we can kind of share with them about our voucher programs, about the funding opportunity, and get them enrolled in receiving services that way. There's really not a ton of barriers when it comes to being able to access our services as long as they qualify for vouchers based on the state guidelines. But we try to make the barriers as minimal as possible for caregivers to be able to access our services and our respite voucher dollars.
and there was a reference to federal or state legislation regarding kinship foster care and how they don't necessarily have to be certified
Mm-hmm.
and they can still access resources.
Mm-hmm.
Would you care to comment on that, please?
Yeah. So for our Grand Family Respite Voucher program, in order to qualify for it, you have to be 55 years of age or older and the primary caregiver to a child 17 years of age or younger. We don't need any proof that they are certified as their kinship caregiver. They don't have to be enrolled in any Department of Human Services program prior, as long as they are the primary caregiver to that child, and the biological parents can't be involved in the care.
Last question.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And that is, where is this information available online? Could you give us that website so the thousands
Yeah.
of people that are listening can write it down? And also, what about if you're particularly older folks like myself who may not be as adept at navigating websites? How do they get the information?
Mm-hmm. So the website larimer.gov/seniors.
Oh,
larimer.gov/seniors for the website. They could always call the Office on Aging at 970-498-7750 and be directed to our caregiver line, or they can call our caregiver line directly, which is 970-498-7758. So either one of those numbers. They could also email us at adrc@larimer.gov.
thank you. And I guess you mentioned that there's a lot of outreach. You're out in the community doing classes, and there's certainly groups like the Grand Family Coalition that interact with folks to make sure they're aware of some of these resources. Thank you very much for entertaining my
Of course.
questions.
Thank you for asking them.
Yes, Lorenda, would you like to share anything?
Danny, you did a great job representing this month and what it's all about. I think what the Office on Aging does to support families who are caregivers is really critical. You know, family caregiving, I'm sure, is both rewarding and challenging and unexpected. And I think that is the piece that, as our community ages, which we know we all are getting older every single day, we find ourselves sandwiched between children and aging adults, or raising grandchildren because of family situations. I think you all are amazing. You, Phyllis and Tracy, put a face on the issue. It's not just some idea that is to be recognized, but it really is people doing hard things in support of their family. And how might we make those resources easier to come by? I know you do the Answers on Aging booklet because not everyone is computer literate. And I wondered, I haven't looked at it for quite some time. It was a fabulous resource when I was looking for resources for my own father who was suffering from dementia. But I wonder if there are these kinship grandparents raising grandchildren, great-grandchildren, resources that might be a section we might include as a resource as well. Because I think I watch my mother-in-law as she ages, she's less and less comfortable on the internet, more and more comfortable with a book she can pick up at a doctor's office or something else. So I wonder if that's the thing that we might be able to expand on in the future.
Absolutely.
You all are incredible. The work you do to support our senior community is amazing, and caregivers are heroes. You all, we're vulnerable today to share your story, and that is, I think, what makes it real for people. I hope folks go back and see this, because I think this proclamation is a simple thing to do, but it is a really deep need in our community to express our appreciation and know that it's hard work.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you all. I have other questions, but I think I'll just hold off for now.
It's okay if you do.
Well, in any event, and thanks for that suggestion about the Answers on Aging guide that's out there in the community, hard copies and all the rest. And I believe we have it in Espanol.
We do. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. We also have Carolina Quinones, who's here.
Yeah,
And she has been instrumental in providing support to caregivers whose primary language is Spanish. And so we are putting a lot of emphasis and focus on that too, and making sure that those caregivers are getting the support and services that they need is also.
thank you. Well, there is a motion before us to approve the proclamation regarding this month as National Caregiver Month, Family Caregiver Month. Any further discussion, colleagues, thoughts? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. We'll now pause for a bit to do pictures at an exhibition. I wonder if anyone can remember that one. Okay, we paused once again to take some pictures. We had a good conversation, excellent conversation regarding the importance of family caregivers and proclaiming November as National Family Caregiver Month. We'll now move on to, we have two more items, County Manager update.
Thank you, Commissioners. I guess I'll keep it pretty short. I did a lot of internal and external coordination with the Estes Park Town Manager, the Fort Collins Chamber of Commerce Executive Director, and the Fort Collins City Manager. Those are really important meetings to maintain those relationships because when you need folks, you need to have that trust and need to understand each other. So those are really important meetings. But probably the best thing I have to report is you might recall that our long-term finance director, Carol Block, retired after 29 years of service with the county. And interviews were held on Friday after a national search. 3 highly qualified candidates were interviewed. And Lori Lopez, our controller, was selected to be our new finance director. Her first day as finance director, I think, is today. She has been with us for 23 years in various roles through the finance department, but most recently as controller. We are really excited. It was a 2-panel interview process. It was not an easy process at all, and she sailed through with flying colors. The other 2 candidates were remarkable folks who were also highly competitive, but it was a pleasure to be able to promote Lori into this position. So I know you join me in congratulating her. It's an important position for the county, and I think we're in good hands going forward.
Thank you, Lorinda. Thank you very much. Let's see. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, would you like to share commissioner activities?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And first, let me just commend and thank the Larimer County Clerk and Recorder and her team for a very busy week as we had our 2024 presidential general election, and it was really a lot of work went into that. And I've heard from a lot of election judges just how nice the facility is and how warm and welcoming, and just, yeah. So I just wanted to say people have said it just really, it was just important. We had a lot of time and volunteers and people involved with that. So thanks to anyone who had anything to do with that. Tuesday, November 4th, during that day, I went and spoke I was asked to speak and welcome at Laurie Student Center at CSU. It was the annual meeting of the Colorado State Foresters. President Amy Parsons, the Dean of the Warner College, the Executive Director of the Department of Natural Resources and the State Forester, and I all spoke. It was really an uplifting time. It hasn't been in Larimer County, I think, for years and years, and they haven't had a meeting since COVID, I think. I think last time it was in Pueblo, so it was a big deal to have it here, and it was fun, exciting, and uplifting, because these folks really care about our forests and our forest health, and it's all related. It's not just about trees; it's soil health, it's our watersheds, it's our air quality. And so very important, and thanks to Director McCombs and Director Gibbs and President Amy Parsons for their words and warm welcome. It was a very uplifting event. And then we had our Human Services Poverty Simulation. I just want to give shout out to Kaylee Raleigh, I think it is her name, who organized that, and Heather and Vanessa and Thad, all of them who put this amazing, impactful event. It was great just to observe and hear their stories as they walked out, and just really amazing opportunity to kind of help ground people in the work they do, and remind us really how important it is. And I think it was really important to have that. So on November 6th, it was right back, even with the election, we're just right back at it. And I attended the CC4CA Legislative Committee meeting. That was very important to listen to some of the legislative opportunities coming up and thoughts. And then we had our Regional Opioid Abatement Learning Forum, which is always update with the funding and how much abatement money we're getting from the settlements, and lots of things that are changing. And so that was an important meeting I wanted to highlight. On November 7th, Commissioner Stevens and I went and attended in person the Commissioners and Counties Acting Together. We had a 2-day retreat with CCAT. down in Denver. I chose to do it virtually on Friday because the weather was so much a challenge, but it was great to see a lot of our colleagues and celebrate that we'll be continuing to work with each other still. And I appreciate the conversations we had about the governor's team came to talk about budget. We talked about equity, diversity, inclusionary work. There's just lots of things that we were discussing and the legislative session. So it's important work and getting ready for that 2025 session. And then I wanted to get to the business appreciation, but I ended up going to the Northern Colorado Regional Airport grand opening. It's a beautiful, beautiful terminal. I got to talk to the mayors and some of the folks on that board and walk through the doors and celebrate. It was very interesting to tour and learn about all the bells and whistles for that new terminal. It's very pretty. There was a lot of people there. A lot of people. I was very impressed with how many people came out. And then again, CCAT just very busy. I'm still working with Visit Estes Park as they're looking with a new director. And then on Saturday, just running around the county with little bits and pieces and meetings. But on yesterday, I wanted to share Veterans Day was bittersweet for me, but very important day. I went to breakfast with some veterans earlier, then I came to the Community Justice Alternatives Veterans Day brunch. That was thank you to Tim Han and Emily and all those folks who organized that. Very important to have those conversations and hang out with Mr. Han's father, who was a veteran and just an amazing man, just sharing all of his stories. Back to sharing that stories. That was one of the speakers on at the parade. It was about veterans sharing their stories, and not a lot of times they're comfortable doing that. It's just very private and very personal and very painful at times. And so I just appreciate those veterans at breakfast sharing a lot of their personal stories. And then I went to the parade. The Veterans Parade in Loveland is still going on. It's one of the few in the country. Our Veteran Services Officer, Lee Cooper, was dressed as a revolutionary patriot and had his authentic flint matlock pistol or rifle or something very beautiful. He shoots off that at the start the parade at 11:11 for the significance of that, and then the planes fly over, and then there's tons of veterans on bikes and cars and motorcycles and the fire department and the bands, and we were asked to walk with a very important group that I've been working with and supporting with the Veterans Honor Monument in Loveland, and really important for that work. And one of those folks is featured on this Veterans Life magazine. Tony Dimash, who's been doing lots of great work for veterans for years, raising the awareness, working hard, raising money, along with some of the Pan Breakfast folks and just some special group of veterans. Tony is not going to survive his battle with cancer, so this is my chance to say goodbye. So just wanted, if you haven't read this, read about Tony and the Veterans Honor Group in Loveland and others. And talk about veterans supporting veterans. He wanted to make sure I met this gentleman who had just got out of homelessness and got housed, who was a veteran, even on, yesterday, was making sure other veterans knew what services were. And a big shout out to Lee Cooper and all of his enthusiasm. And it was just great to see all these people who knew him and celebrating him and congratulating him and thanking him he walked the parade route with me. And it was really a very special day. So just wanted to share that. And then I want to thank the ranch staff, Connor McGrath and Katie Buttermore, Dixie Daly from Visit Loveland, the Loveland Holiday Council, just a ton of folks as we were through the state or the Society of American Foresters came to the ranch for a conference, and that's how opened the door for the opportunity, since they're sponsoring the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree, which will be on the West Lawn, to come through Loveland and have a stop. And then quickly the staff brought together all this holiday council and Santa Claus, Mrs. or Mrs. Claus, and Santa Claus came, and ornaments for kids to make, and just all kinds of things. And they brought that together very quickly at the Blue Arena on the Ranch, and got to talk to the U.S. Forest Service managers for the Chugach and Tongass National Forests. This tree is in a specially built semi that you can have glass, you can see it's all lit up, and all of the Alaskan youth and folks who had already decorated with hand, made gifts of dream catchers and bears and buff bison, and it was just really special. And we all got to sign the on the side and took a great picture. But to talk to the U.S. Forest Service managers who were accompanying it from those national forests, they're accompanying it along its way to the U.S. Capitol. It was really interesting to find those connections, because they knew Monty Williams and started their career with Monty Williams, who just retired as our National Forest Supervisor, and to talk and knew all these names and talks, and it was really still a small world that these dedicated U.S. Forest Service personnel and professionals still had a connection in Colorado, and it was really special. So they gave me a little sticker, and it was just a lot of fun. And I know a lot of people in the crowd that brought their families or as older adults, and it was really a nice bright spot for them. They really were excited to be there. And I wanted to just commend the staff, because I know it took a lot to get that together, but the community members were just so thankful for something to come and celebrate and enjoy. And one of our Loveland holiday Christmas ornaments, which is 4 retrievers ringing or something. It's 5 dogs. It's going to be hung on that tree on the Capitol. So I just want to share that with the public, that one of those Loveland ornaments will be hanging on that tree on the U.S. Capitol West Lawn. So that was great. And just, I'm continuing to celebrate veterans, and I talked to so many of them, and it was a special day yesterday. And I just wanted to kind of go in a little in depth. And if you haven't met or read this magazine, I would recommend it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens, anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'll just share a few things. I was part of the Human Services Poverty Simulation, so I participated in that exercise, and it was just very eye-opening to go through life in these a small bit of a person's life. We took on roles of people who are experiencing poverty, and so I was a child in a family that was experiencing poverty, and just really experiencing what it's like to maybe not have money for rent that month, or not be able to pay your bills, or to get in trouble at school and have your mom have to stay home from work because you can't afford childcare. And so it was just a really great way for us to experience what it's like to live in poverty. It builds more empathy for the people that we serve every day in human services. And so just a remarkable hundreds of, it was an all staff meeting at the ranch, and just was, in our debriefs, really impactful to the people who are staff members who work with people around what it's like to deal with some of these situations, and just was really grateful to have that opportunity. Wednesday, we had the North I-25 Coalition meeting. Not too much new there. Just talking about how the mobility hubs are open, and there will be security in the mobility hub at Centera twice a day, because there are maybe some security concerns there. On Thursday, we did have the CCAT retreat, so Commissioners and Counties Acting Together retreat. That was really impactful, because not only are we looking at legislation that's upcoming in the spring, but also because we really agreed as a board to center the work we're doing around equity. And so we will be adding pieces that talk about our commitment to equity, both in our norms and guiding principles. And so as we look at legislation and how we work with others, both in our internally and externally, we'll make sure that work is centered in equity and leading with racial equity. So we were happy to get to that point. It's been a long journey as an organization to really work through that, and happy to be a part of that, and an organization that puts equity first. We had our I in the midst of the CCAT retreat, I also had all the transportation meetings. So attended the Go NOCO 34 TMO meeting. We have hired a new executive director. I cannot remember her name right now, but we're excited to have someone in that role to be able to help us work on commuting solutions on 34. At our MPO meeting, we did have a presentation about the I-25 and Mulberry interchange because of flooding concerns and aging infrastructure, traffic, and growth, and to create more multimodal opportunities. CDOT will begin work on this interchange. Their 30% design work should be started by June of 2025, so there will be some relief for people who live along that or commute along that road. And then yes, I also attended the Community Corrections Breakfast. This is, I think, my 4th year attending the Community Corrections Breakfast for both people who are in community corrections that have been veterans and staff who are in community corrections. It's always really moving. Unfortunately, there are a lot of justice-involved veterans, and it was a way to honor those folks to say that, while folks in community corrections have made mistakes, that we still honor the service that they provided to our country. And I think that it was really great for Commissioner Kafalis to be able to talk about the possibility of adding a veterans specialty court to our judicial system to really take care of veterans who have served because they have some special needs. They've been through many have been through, wartime combat. And so really, how do we help those veterans get back on their feet and back into our community? So it was a really wonderful breakfast. It's really great to have those meaningful conversations with people to really understand, their background, where they came from. They're not so different from the rest of us. And then, really exciting to see the U.S. Capitol tree at the ranch. Really great celebration. Got to learn about the Sitka spruce. It was 80-foot tall that goes in the special truck, and the drivers are in their 80s that are driving this truck across the country. Very interesting to meet with the drivers and the people who were accompanying the tree. But what a great special celebration. So thanks to all who were involved with that. And that's it for me. Thank you.
I'll mention a couple of things that haven't been mentioned. And I was happy to attend some of the events that were already shared. The tree thing last night, got to do that with the 7-year-old granddaughter. So that was a lot of fun. I'll mention that in the gathering with the veterans at the brunch at the Community Justice Alternatives was very meaningful. It's always important to make personal connections with folks, and our community corrections director, Tim, his dad is quite an enthusiastic and good-hearted person. It's always fun to hang out with him. One thing that wasn't mentioned on Saturday, I was able to go to the most of the economic and workforce development young entrepreneur tournament at the Rocky Mountain Innosphere, and they've actually had to cancel it a couple of years. But anyway, it's a really amazing event. It's a very hopeful event. You've got all these young people. I think their ages were 11 through 16, and they come up with ideas and they present. They have about 3 minutes, and then there are judges. And anyway, that was interesting. I didn't get to stay for the dinner or the judges ranking or awarding there were the top three, and then other folks got $50 or $25 for all their efforts. I don't know if this was mentioned, the on Friday night, the United Way of Larimer County had the fundraiser at the Lincoln Center, Big Hearts for Little Learners, and it was nice to hang out with folks that I normally don't get to hang out with there and meet some new people. Also that day, Friday, attended the State Board of Human Services meeting, well, virtually, and we did approve final rules for expanding the definition of missing youth, and that's a a way of addressing human trafficking of kids. And we also updated the cost of living adjustment for the LEAP, Low Energy Assistance Program. And then we actually had an interesting presentation on the alternative response for adult protective services. Legislation was passed a couple of years ago. 15 counties were identified to help with a pilot program. And guess what? Larimer County is one of those 15 counties. And overall, the results have been very promising. And there'll be a report next year and so on. I was able to attend the City of Fort Collins Business Appreciation Celebration at the Translational Medicine Institute. There on the campus where the veterinary teaching hospital is. And it was interesting because, well, I mean, there were a lot of good folks there, but their focus was on the, quote, circular economy, which has a lot to do with our efforts regarding solid waste management and so on. And then I went from there for a little bit. I listened to some of the presentations at the Canvas Stadium. There's something called the One Health Institute at CSU. They were having One Health Day celebration. And basically, it's a very holistic view, looking at public health globally and nationally, and looking at projects that are advancing those principles. And that's a good thing. I attended at least 2 memorial services um, in the last 2 weeks or so. It's interesting how, as you get older, more and more of your friends are passing on. And I'm actually glad I find the time to do that. That's all I have. I don't believe we have legal matters, and therefore we let Cassidy off a tiny bit early. We are adjourned at 10:44 a.m. Thank you all for your hard work, colleagues.